Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. And I'm here today to talk about the general transits and astrological dynamics that are happening in November 2022. And I've got to tell you, it's a month that has me intrigued and have a little bit of trepidation as well. We use the term often expect the unexpected when we're talking about the planet Uranus. And Uranus is going to make a big influence on this month and on the months and years ahead. So let me first say this. These general astrological readings are based on whole sign Western astrology. While I'm not going to do individual signs today, I'm just going to talk about November's transits. I think it's super important to look and see where these transits are falling in your chart. We see some significant energy going on in Scorpio with the Sun and Mercury and Venus. We know the South Node has been at 13 degrees. Scorpio for ever and a day, it feels like. So let me just jump in and start with the eclipse. The full moon lunar eclipse is at 16 degrees Taurus, and this is going to be conjunct Uranus. Uranus is liberating. Uranus is innovative. Uranus thinks about the collective, humanity. It represents electricity, lightning, things that come out of nowhere or appear to come out of nowhere. And they're literally, Uranus and the moon are going to be at the exact same degree, 16 degrees, which is the Cancer degree. This is going to be in an opposition to the Sun, Mercury, and Venus. The Sun being at 16 degrees, Mercury at 15 degrees, and Venus at 20 degrees Scorpio. All full moons represent the culmination of something, an illumination, drawing a conclusion, seeing things more clearly than we have before, which brings us into an inspired new action. This particular full moon is making a T-square to Saturn in Aquarius. So all these planets, the moon, Uranus, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus are all in a tense conversation with Saturn. I think this is going to be significant on multiple levels. I think the first thing we're going to see is a re-examination of our thought process. And when we re-examine our thoughts as represented by Mercury, we're going to look at all the things that are mercurial. Our children, both how we bring them into the world, how we educate them, what we teach them in the way of their strength and their power within the world, because I want to say that about the Sun sitting right there. And Venus is about our self-worth. Venus also rules the feminine, and the moon rules the feminine. I have a little bit of concern because of all the fixed energy. Scorpio is a fixed sign. Aquarius, where Saturn is a fixed sign. Taurus is a fixed sign. I do have trepidation that there could be the crossing over of a significant female figure. I think this would be somebody who would be maybe a little bit older, somebody established, potentially someone that we look at as a spiritual leader, or somebody who helps us feel inspired and anchors our values and our viewpoint. I was meditating when I was looking at the transits, and this came to me very strongly. Venus also represents our money. So I do think that there's going to be significant energies surrounded around money and finance and how we make our money. Scorpio rules other people's money, and Taurus rules the money that we make with our skills. And then we have Saturn representing government, authority, tradition, historic structures. So I think that we're going to see a lot of influx is the way I want to put it. And I want to offer this too, because the United States is having an election on the 8th, and we may see more females elected into office. And these may be females that we aren't expecting. I know there's a young candidate. Oh my goodness, her name slips my mind, but she's about 25 years old. And I think she's running for the Senate. And we could see her get into office where most people would say she's not qualified, she's too young. So I think that mercurial Venus thing in Scorpio could see us starting to see the new generation take leadership. And this may feel very jarring to some of us who look to people to have experience in order to be able to be skilled at their jobs. And yet at the same time, sometimes experience makes us rigid in our jobs. It makes us continue to do things the same way rather than having new perceptions and new breath of fresh air. That's where I want to put it. So I think over the next 6 months, I mean, I think we're going to see within a few days of this eclipse some significant changes as a result of the election. I absolutely think this could affect money, but we're already seeing that take place. We've already seen gas prices go up, and you know, a freaking loaf of bread, everything's going up. So I think we're going to start to see things. I think Uranus is going to bring into the mix a wanting to nurture and to liberate ourselves from a place of a true win-win. And this is taking, you know, the 16th degree where this eclipse is, and taking Uranus's energy in retrograde and giving us an opportunity to review how we are being innovative. Is our spiritual body, is our energetic body in alignment with our physical body and our thoughts? And our technology grows and grows. And yet at the same time, I don't know that the structures around the human experience have fostered the growth of our spiritual, the growth of our self-esteem. You know, Venus rules our self-esteem. She rules, they say she rules our self-esteem because she rules the house of our personal family history. And depending upon what your childhood was like, oftentimes determines how you feel about yourself. We see Venus at the Scorpion degree. So this is really going to be an illumination, a digging in deep about where we've given up our power, where we have been potentially manipulative, because Scorpio sometimes can be manipulative, and Venus in Scorpio could not want to come out of the dark, but want to influence and assert power. And then when I see Mercury at the 15th degree during this eclipse, I go to the Gemini degree. 13 is Aries, 14 is Taurus, 15 is Gemini. So we're seeing a double mercurial influence here. And I also want to kind of back up a little bit, because if a significant female makes her transition, she may be somebody that we were used to seeing in the media, because Mercury rules the media, our everyday media. So it may be something that seems rather surprising. And I hate to say it this way, but it could be as a result of an airplane situation, because Uranus rules air travel. All this is coming to me intuitively. I don't know if any of it will actually take place, but I do kind of feel responsible to put it out there so we can be aware, so we can just be mindful of our own actions. We know Mars is retrograding through Gemini the whole month of November, and it is Mars doesn't like to be slowed down. And so there can be some frustration attached to that energy as well. We also have, adding to this whole mix, Jupiter retrograde, just entering Pisces and heading towards Neptune retrograde. Jupiter is expanding. Jupiter represents travel. We look at it in the 12th house of Pisces, and this could be spiritual travel, spiritual beliefs, a deepening and a review of what I believe as a result of what this eclipse brings forward, because that conjunction is going to hang out for quite some time. Jupiter is going to go direct at the end of November. So it will station somewhere around 28 degrees. It's at 29 degrees this particular week. And the 22nd degree is the Capricorn degree, which I think is super pivotal. On the 10th of November, we will see Venus at 22 degrees Scorpio, making a trine to Neptune. So this is where there can be, I mean, the trine is a favorable aspect, but it doesn't mean that it is the bearer of good tidings. It means that there's the potential of a wisdom that in the, whatever the eclipse illuminated a few days before, or I'll put it this way, what it starts to illuminate, because eclipses are 6-month cycles. They have influence for 6 months. The unexpected event may not happen on the day of the eclipse or even the week of the eclipse, but these things are being teed up. And when I think of fated events, I think of situations that bring fated opportunities for choices and how we want to view it and how we want to be flexible in our perception, because again, this particular eclipse is riddled with fixed energy. It's saying, no, this is how it goes. No, 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 this is how we do it. This is how we've always done it. And it really doesn't matter if it's the most efficient way of doing it. It's just the way we've always done it. So we're going to see Venus on the 15th getting to 29 degrees Scorpio. Now she's making a trine to Jupiter. And here we're seeing this whole month, we're seeing Mercury and Venus hanging out within a degree of each other as they go through Scorpio, and then they'll enter Sagittarius in the middle of the month. So I really feel like there's a lot thinking about how we have invested our money, how we've invested in our relationships, how we've invested in our possessions, and if we have been standing on our possessions as the thing that provides evidence of our success. Because the closer we get to the Aquarian age, and the reason why I think that the Uranus-Saturn square, which is still in play and holding and has been for years, along with these other transits, is giving us an opportunity to stand in an energy to be innovative, to be, I think each individual wants to be seen for their own characteristics, for their own contribution. And oftentimes we've gotten conditioned to only see what you carry around materially, whether you're contributing or not. And I think this is part of what the breakaway is, because Venus is rewriting how I feel about myself, how I view myself, and how I value and nurture myself. And Neptune is bringing in a spiritual aspect that allows me to take what has been challenging, what has been erosive, and start to use it as a tool to empower me. So I think that's going to come up because, again, we're seeing Venus and Jupiter like each other in general. And while Jupiter is in its ancient domicile, and Venus loves Pisces. That's her best friend. So here we're seeing this cooperation between the water signs, a willingness to dig deep into my beliefs. And rather than judging, we're seeing an opportunity to find spiritual wisdom within it. On the 16th, Venus will move into Sagittarius, and the following day, Mercury will follow her. I find this very interesting how the Sun, Mercury, and Venus are never far from each other, but Mercury and Venus are really having a field day over this period of time. They're really hanging out the closest together. And there's a part of me that even wants to go to the idea that Venus, representing the feminine, also represents the feminine reproductive system, and Mercury rules children. So I think there's a lot we're going to see about how we are addressing those situations, both politically, morally, and spiritually. And I think we're going to open up to seeing the physical experience for the device that it serves as, so the soul can exercise its desires and to implement its wishes and wants in the physical world. On the 18th, we're going to see Mars retrograde, starting a square with Neptune. And this is going to be, again, pretty challenging. I want to say this too. Neptune's making a lot of conversation here. And with the full moon, you know, it always makes the tides, water, our bodies feel water. Be mindful of your alcohol intake. You may inadvertently feel a little heavy-handed. There can be extreme weather. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. But I think on a personal level, if we're feeling challenged, sometimes we want to take that Neptune energy and escape. And the easiest way to do that can be through alcohol or drugs. Sometimes it's through sex, sometimes it's through gambling. There's many ways of going about it. But I think as we are mindful of that and asking ourselves, is this going to serve where I want to come out at the other side of this? On the 23rd, Jupiter is going to station to move direct into back into Aries. On the 25th, we're going to see Venus at 11 degrees, Mercury at 12 degrees in Sagittarius, making a trine to Chiron retrograde at 12 degrees Aries. Chiron is the wound we bring into this physical experience. In Aries, it's going to be focused on self-assertion. It's going to be focused on first house things, my perception, what I think, again, because the first house rules the head. So the head encases the brain. And here we see Mercury, the mind, involved at the 12th degree, which is the Neptunian degree. And we see Venus at the 11th degree with an opportunity to liberate myself. Now, do I think we can erase our wounds? I don't believe we can. I believe when the human has come into a certain experience, it stays with us. But can we transform divine disruption into wisdom that empowers us, wisdom that gives us inspiration to move forward? I absolutely believe that. And so when we're aware of the transits, then we can look at the way we're feeling personally and add that transit to the mix. It's kind of like saying, if I was in a winter storm and it was hailing, if I walk outside and I say, oh, the sun is shining, it is not shining. So you need to be prepared with the right equipment for a hailstorm. And that's what I think the transits are. They are storms, they are sunny skies that present the soul with opportunities to make high vibrational choices. And as they make those high vibrational choices, the ones with the heart versus the eyes, then the momentum starts to get faster and faster. And we see ourselves really manifesting in the physical world, which is what I believe why the soul comes into this experience. So I think that on the 25th and around that time, which is the Thanksgiving here in the United States, and it'll be just a few weeks after the election, I think we're getting an opportunity to rethink our own personal wounds. And if they're still active, if we're still currently being wounded, or this is an old wound and we're staring at the scar, and the scar is as healed as it's going to be. And this gives us an opportunity to take that wisdom and move forward with it and turn it into something better. On the final day of the month, the 30th, we're going to see Mars retrograde at 19 degrees Gemini, making an opposition to Venus at 17 degrees Sagittarius and Mercury at 20 degrees Sagittarius. This is really, there is always going to be the lower vibrations. There's always going to be war and anger and frustration and people driving around like bats out of hell and unconsciously. And I could focus on that, but I think a lot of people on the internet already cover that material. So I want to take this as Mars retrograde, calling forth the hero within me. And as Mars started that retrograde at 25 degrees, which is the Gemini degree, and it's moving backwards, each degree is giving me reflection and asking me to be brave in how I perceive myself and how I land on others. So on the 30th, at the 19th degree, we're seeing the Libra degree. We're looking for harmony and balance. And oftentimes we think harmony and balance is some sort of utopia. It's not. Harmony is the understanding of dark and light, the giving and the taking of it, the flexibility of it. Because as we see the opposition at the 17th degree, which is the Leo degree, and then we see Mercury at the 20th degree, which is a Scorpio degree, gives me an opportunity to stand in leadership within my own transformation and to surrender on some level a story that no longer serves me. It doesn't mean it's not a true story, but the continued dialogue of that story kicks in the laws of attraction. And then the law of attraction brings you experiences to make divine choices. And oftentimes divine choices are the choices we are not used to. They're the choices that ask us to bet on ourselves and to bet on our happiness and to put all our chips in. So that's what I think is happening in November. And I think we're going to see this as a theme moving forward. And as we get into even more opportunities to make high vibrational choices, I think as part of the humanity, part of the world community, each one of us gets to decide whether or not we are brave enough to look at ourselves and say, do I respond when somebody bullies me or when somebody's angry with me or when somebody tries to give me an ultimatum? And if I don't respond favorably, do I want to perpetrate that energy onto someone else? Even if it's just driving down the highway, cutting people off in your car. The Mars retrograde is going to continue on until March of 2023. It's going to continue to ask you to be brave in your thoughts, brave in your actions, brave in your leadership, courageous in your willingness to decide whether you want to be right or you want to be happy. So we got a lot going on here. We got a lot looking at our beliefs, and if indeed our beliefs deserve a bigger renovation than maybe we've given them before. And I mean that by looking at them and saying, maybe they served me here, but they're really not as applicable now. It's like having a rotary phone. It worked back in 1960 and it was innovative then. But by the time 1990 came around, it was obsolete. And maybe some of your beliefs are obsolete right now. And inadvertently, you've been operating on that belief of lack or that belief of scarcity or that belief of not deserving. And now we get to rewrite that story. So I'm going to finish this off with this affirmation that I've been using. And I actually kind of pumped it up because I found myself wobbling to feel safe. So I'm just using these 4 basic phrases. I am safe, I am aligned, I am attracting, and I am allowing for my highest and greatest good the expansion of my happiness and my hopes and my dreams. And so it is. I hope you found this video helpful. Be gentle with yourself during the month of November. It's going to be an eye-opening month. It's going to be pivotal for change. It's going to set the tone for a future that brings more integrity and more character to the forefront. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, and intuitive guide. If you'd like to book a reading with me, I am available, and you can reach me below through my email, or if you're in the United States, feel free to give me a call. All right, everybody. Peace out.